Hello and welcome to the Goddess Awakening podcast with your host, Lorena Douglas. On today's podcast, I'll be speaking about my home buying journey as a mirror of my soul's sovereignty. So, in the beginning of this year, January 2025, within a couple of days, I was presented with the opportunity to leave. Well, obviously, it wasn't a choice. I've been renting for years, and the homeowners who I was renting from was selling the home. They're retiring and selling the home. So at that moment, I had a choice. I had a choice to look elsewhere, continue to rent, or I could own. And owning wasn't really something that I ever thought about. It did when I went to live in other states, like when I was living in Texas. I did That did spark my desires of wanting to own. But unfortunately, financially, I just wasn't in a secure place at the time. And then when I moved back to New York, I didn't think it was possible because financially, you have to make more if you're a single adult and just have to have more buying power, especially when you want a nice home. And I never thought it would be possible for me, anyways, in New York. When my husband, because obviously my husband had different ideas. My husband wants to own. He's been wanting to own for a very long time. He did not want to rent anymore. And so I knew I had to also surrender and trust what my husband's vision of wanting more space, of wanting something that belongs to us. And honestly, at the time we were renting like a small two-bedroom apartment, and with my son's musical background, because he has a trumpet and he has all his, video games and all his sports stuff, and my daughter with art and having her art canvases and everything everywhere, our small two-bedroom rental was becoming even smaller. And so, yes, did share his vision with wanting more space. But realistically, where we live, renting and wanting bigger space in a nicer neighborhood required us to just have more income coming in or spend more than what we were initially planning. And for the prices they were offering, it just made more sense to invest in something that we own versus spending that same amount into renting, where you don't get anything in return, and we might be in the same boat again in another year. So I trusted him and I surrendered to the home buying scary experience, because it really was an emotional roller coaster, that I was not expecting. I remember signing up for a new home buyer seminar so we could not go in so blindsided, because, YouTube and TikTok can only go so far. And then you want to actually ask questions. But I think I ended up leaving that home buyer seminar with just a little bit more confused, but also understanding that it's not just like buying a handbag or buying shoes. Like, it's a process, and there's a lot of legal stuff that has to do with it. A lot of people involved, and yeah. Anyways, I trusted that the mortgage guy that I selected and the realtor that I selected were two very trustworthy people. And they really were. They were with me the whole time. I saw them as like my little team of angels and counselors, because emotionally, they held me through all of it. And yeah, I remember just every week or every other week just having emotional little meltdowns, and me being able to speak to them both every week so they could comfort me and they can give me positive feedback and letting me know that what was going on is normal, what was happening, it happens for a reason. Like trying to assist me in seeing the bigger picture of the home buying journey and them sharing their stories on how when you buy a home, it's not just a smooth transition, like a smooth cookie cutter move, because it all depends on, on what the journey has in store for you. So for me, I know that I had to surrender even more and I had to trust even more. And I knew this because around that time, around I would say January, February, I got in a car accident. And nothing happened to me. Everything was fine, but my car got really damaged. And so I had to leave my car in the shop for about a month while they fixed it. So this is me giving away control, giving away and just trusting that I hired a great team to look for a home for me, trusting that everything that's going on, it's supposed to allow me to just surrender even deeper to what was going on which caused me to go into my heart even more and see things with an even bigger heart vulnerability than ever before. So I will say that the homes that we did pick in the beginning, I was looking from a place of scarcity. I was looking for an older home in the beginning, an older home that didn't have a lot of issues, that was slightly bigger than what we have, and that it wasn't going to cost a lot every month. Unfortunately, the two homes I think it was three homes. It was three homes that we had put offers on. And the first two, no, they didn't accept our offer because it's I didn't know it was like a lottery, basically. You put in an offer and then you either get picked or you don't get picked. And so the first two homes, we didn't get picked. And then on the third home, we did get picked, but the owner wanted like an extra contingency, and it just felt very like not good. Didn't feel like good energy, good vibrancy. Like we just decided to pass on it, even though I kind of was afraid that I was giving up and I wasn't going to find anything else. But I was doing it from a place of scarcity, like a place like, oh my gosh, a house might not open up if we don't say yes to this extra contingency, which basically was that if we found anything wrong with it and we wanted to end the contract before we signed, before we closed, we had to give in like a fee, a penalty fee, which it's not fair because typically when you buy a house, I mean, here in New York, you are allowed to leave before the closing of the contract, before you get your keys if you change your mind without any penalty. But this particular owner wanted to put that in there, which I didn't see as doing, but I had a feeling that we might find something we didn't like, which would cause us to walk away, which is why I think he wanted to put that extra stipulation. And if I'm right or wrong, I don't know. I just know that it felt good to walk away from it just because it just didn't feel good in my gut and it didn't feel good in my heart to keep going. I was having like nightmares. I was having like just bad feelings in my body. And I decided to just listen to that and not ignore it. I remember during the home buying process, after not working out with the first three homes, I thought that, maybe it's just not going to work out. Like maybe if we keep doing this, maybe it's not working out for a reason. Maybe I'm not meant to buy a home in New York. Maybe I'm meant to create a foundation somewhere else that's not New York. I was questioning whether I was meant to still stay here, I was questioning whether I'm even supposed to be a homeowner. Like maybe I'm just not supposed to ever buy a home. Maybe I'm just meant to rent forever. So I remember just putting all these negative thoughts in my head and making it all mean something negative, when in reality, it was just not meant to be. Like it just wasn't in my highest to get an older home or get those homes that didn't work out. It was in my highest to look for something else. Because you have to understand, sometimes we have our own vision of what we want, right? But our spiritual team, the ones that are working behind the scene, have a bigger plan for us that we can't see, that we won't be able to see. You know, there were new pathways opening up for me that had even more abundance, even more expansion that I wasn't able to see at that time. And so I decided to once again put myself out there, be more vulnerable, look for new homes, go to new open houses, and open up my eyes to different homes that were not where I was. They were more up north, in different school district, in a different village, in a different area. New construction was another one that I wasn't even thinking about. And it was different because I wanted an older home that had character, something that was lived in, not something that was brand new. And then the more I looked at brand new houses, it just felt good. It felt good that it didn't have any dense energies, that I didn't have to go in there and need to do a whole deep clean or a whole spiritual cleanse. And, it felt good to go into a space that didn't have already dense energy, that I can infuse it with my own fresh energy, and that my family can also infuse it and create it and make it ours. So yeah, that was another timeline that I didn't know was possible. Then we moved on to see, instead of used homes, because we couldn't find older homes that were around my husband's height. My husband is 6'3", and he's very broad. So a lot of these older homes are not made for someone that's as tall and big as him. So we really, like, our home buying was it got even slimmer to focus on an older home, because I think back in the day people were just shorter and not so big. So yeah. So which caused us to start looking at newer homes, newer builds. And that felt even more risky for me, and it made me feel even more not that we were going to get it, not thinking that I was worthy enough to get such a home. Like I always felt that me getting a newer home, or like a home that's brand new construction, I thought there was a part of me that felt that she needed to work harder to get something that was that new and shiny. And like I had this level of unworthiness and a level of sacrifice. Like I hadn't sacrificed enough to be able to have a house of that caliber, of a brand new home, a brand new build. But I remember meditating, going even deeper, and telling myself, like, Lorena, how much more do you want me to do? Like, how much more should I work? How much more should I sacrifice? How much more proof do I need to give to myself that I am worthy of a house that's better than an older home? And it was just trusting. It's just becoming even more vulnerable and allowing myself to have even more abundance in my life. Because having a home that's brand new, it's like accepting new abundance into me, accepting the new blessings that are there for me, and having the ability to create something of my own and be able to coded and put love into it, putting in my own love, my own code, my own frequency into the home, into the lands, and be able to label it as mine. And that felt like even more of a responsibility that I didn't know I was ready for. Even though I've been calling it, I've been, praying for it. I think I've been praying for it for a while, that I've been wanting to have something of my own, that I've been wanting to have my own space and be able to just, bask in my own energy and not having to worry about neighbors that were so close, but be able to call something mine. It was really a dream. And the fact that it was being presented to me on a silver platter, it was unreal. It was surreal. I just know that it took a lot for me to even say yes. It took a lot for me to even commit and put in an offer for this home. I didn't want to dream. Part of me was afraid to dream. I was afraid to put my love and trust into this home and put in an offer if it was going to be taken away from me, because it was already taken away from the other older homes. And so I remember my husband sitting with me and telling me that we are worthy of this. We deserve this, that our children deserve this, that we deserve to have a place where we can have enough space to have guests, to have parties, to have friends stay over, to build memories and to really build a foundation. It was just, I realized it was just higher codes of even more commitment, not only to each other as a couple, it was also a commitment he was making to me and my kids, and a commitment that we were just making as well with the lands, with the house, that we were willing to say yes to all of it, saying yes to making our family just that much more grounded and that much more whole and complete. And that required me to open up my heart even more. That required me to be even more vulnerable. That required me to surrender and trust in the divine plan of it all. Another piece I wanted to share was my lesson in learning to allow the masculine to hold me, which I didn't realize I was not allowing my husband to hold me, but it was just another layer of it, because we did make a commitment to each other. I did marry him. I did allow him. He has helped me transmute and heal from my first marriage, and he has helped heal my children and supporting us. It was just, I had a piece I was holding on to, and that was with money. When I had separated from my first husband, I had told myself that I would always financially have enough to be able to pay care of all the bills in case I ever were to be put in a situation again. I wouldn't be caught off guard. I would be able to sustain the lifestyle that I've been living and not have to shift anything, because I would be able to take care of everything on my own if it were to happen again. And so in looking for homes, that was still my goal. My underlying goal was to be able to still afford the bills on my own in case things go left. And so the house that we had settled on, a bigger new home, the cost was going to be much higher. And it was giving me anxiety again. It was giving me panic attacks, because obviously if I were to say yes to this new home with the higher costs associated with it, I would have to rely on him 100%, no matter what. And if in the future things were to go left, we wouldn't be able to live here anymore because obviously I wouldn't be able to pay the monthly home expenses on my own. And so it was a big commitment. It was a bit like a big move for me to say, yes, we're taking this home. I had to look within. I had to cry. I had to pray. I had to really release whatever hold I was making this mean. And it was me not letting go of that past aspect where everything was turned upside down when I had the divorce and I had to reconfigure my whole lifestyle on my own. And I had to speak to my husband. I had to tell him where I was coming from. Had to tell him my worries, my doubts, my fears that were creeping up that was preventing me from saying yes to this new home. And I mean, he looked me in the eye, he held me, he acknowledged me, and he 100% gave me the support that I needed to be able to say yes to this home. Because he recommitted. He said he's not going anywhere. He understands my fears, but that he just wasn't going anywhere. So there was no point for me to continue to hold on to this past version of me, this past fear that is no longer existent at this time. And with that and trusting him and expressing to him how I felt and him acknowledging it, my love for him has grown even more. Me trusting in a divine masculine, it just grew even more. And our relationship just got even more stronger than ever before. I didn't know that a relationship could just be more solid the more I'm able to speak to him about what's going on with me internally. It really does help when you have that partner that's able to acknowledge you, that's able to, respect you and your feelings and your emotions and whatever it is that you're going through, because I can't hold on to everything. So being able to have a release, someone that I could like let it go to, it's amazing. So yeah, I wanted to share that bit. So we saw this house, the house that we're in now. We saw it before they lowered it, before they put it on the market and they were going to lower the price. It was beautiful. I mean, it is beautiful, but I felt like it was too much space. Like it was just so much more square footage. This house is actually one of the houses that we saw that had the most square footage out of any house. And it was actually the most expensive one that we had seen out of any of the houses. So I felt very intimidated. So we didn't say yes. We actually waited about 2 weeks because I remember our realtor asking, like, do you guys like it? Do you guys want to see it again? Do you guys want to put it in offer? And we didn't. My daughter then came up for like a break. She just came up from college to visit. And I was like, you know what? Let's go see the house. Maybe we need another look and maybe we need another set of eyes to look at the house and feel into the frequencies of the house and see what they think. And she loved it. My husband supposedly brain dumped the house. So when he saw it again for the first time. And he loved it. So I said, okay, let's put in an offer. So we put in an offer. I decided to go to the backyard to try to connect with the frequencies of the land. I remember putting my hands and feet on the land to feel the frequencies. So I closed my eyes and I just, I welcomed the frequencies of the land. I share my codes and I allow the frequencies of the codes of the land to come up through me as well. I also I placed a crystal and I asked for the frequencies of of the land to infuse itself into the crystal so I can meditate with the land at home on my altar and honor the frequency so then I can connect even deeper with the guardians of the land in which I reside. Because when you're purchasing a home, what I've learned is that you're not only committing yourself to the temple of light that you're contracting with, but you're also contracting with the lands and the guardians of those lands. And if you don't ask for permission, it's not going to work. Or if it's not in your highest, like you're purchasing this home and it's not in your highest, it's just not going to work. And so I remember telling my realtor, let's put in an offer. I swear to you, that same day, because I think we went to see it in the morning. I think it was a Saturday or Sunday. I want to say Monday morning, it got accepted right away. We got the home. And so that's when we started doing our contract to purchase the home, to start putting it into contract. Everything was smooth. I would say the whole paperwork was smooth. It was towards after the month, the ending of the month that it wasn't smooth because they forgot there was some with the paperwork that they weren't able to fill it out properly, so which caused another 2-week delay. But besides that, we were able to go into the lawyer's office the day of closing to get the keys. And the frequencies were extremely high. I remember feeling very woozy and very lightheaded as I was signing. And basically, I felt like I was signing my life away because it was an endless stacks of paper. The whole big conference table was just filled with so many copies of papers, and everything was 3 of everything. Because I guess 1 copy goes to my lawyer, 1 copy goes to their lawyer, and 1 copy goes to the bank's lawyer. And they all want wet signatures. So, yeah, that was fun. And I remember it took us about a month to really, I guess, reset, recalibrate to the higher frequencies of this house. I remember thanking the guardians of the lands for choosing me. I remember just always honoring this house, this temple as my own for being able to accept even more abundance in my life, being able to accept even more abundance in my children's lives, and being able to open even more expansion in everything that we do, because that was really my intention, to find a home that would be able to expand us even more to more possibilities of living a life that we truly love, that we truly cherish, that we truly find joy and happiness in. I'm done trying to live a life where I find no fulfillment in. And if this home is able to be that sanctuary for us, to be able to be even more creative, even more flowful, wake up and have even more joy in everything that I do, then this house is for us. And I remember always doing that with every home, connecting with the lands and connecting to the guardians and asking, if this is in the highest for my family and I, then I would love for us to co-create together, because it's really just that. I really, really cherish everything that I do. And I cherish that if this house was to be ours, which it is, I would try everything in my power to share these frequencies with the world, with family and friends, and anyone who wants to. be in even more, abundance, expansion in their life. So, yeah, that was it in a bubble, I would say. I know I wake up every day with even more gratitude than I've ever had. I remember just being in awe, and I couldn't believe that I was waking up to something that I could call mine, and I'm just so happy because saying yes to this house has opened up even more abundance than I ever thought possible. And that's because I've decided to open myself more and trust the process, trust that I'm not alone, trust that I have a spiritual team of light that's guiding me and supporting me in every decision that I make. And that money loves me and money wants to expand with me. And allow more of it to play with me and be a co-create with me and my family, which is even more beautiful. So yeah. If you're ready to alchemize your own challenges into wisdom and trust your inner strength and never give up on your life's journey, please know that you're not alone. Your struggles can become your greatest wisdom, and your love and sensitivity is your superpower. Your journey matters, and the world needs your unique feminine essence to shine without holding back. So, subscribe now so you'll never miss an episode, and let's walk this path together in sisterhood. Bye.